Welcome to Christian Talk Radio. No, it's Eat Drink Talk. Hey! Nobody else was that excited about it.
What the hell?
It was more of a reaction to Christian Talk Radio.
What the fuck? You could have just stopped.
As per Adam's request last week, this is not episode 6. This is actually the episode 1 right after 5 that we lost count of.
You're goddamn right. So, just add 1 to 5. There you go.
Alright, I am Dane.
I'm Scott.
I'm Carson.
I'm Matt.
Adam.
Okay.
Wait, you guys not saying what you're drinking tonight?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we do that.
We're fucking it up!
I'm
We're already
drinking-
forgetting!
It's not even my show!
I'm drinking Evan Williams and RC Cola.
I'm drinking a Bud Ice only because you just gave it to me.
The only reason why.
It was free.
Carson, what are you drinking?
I'm not drinking anything. I'd really like a water, though.
Yeah, go get some water, man.
What
Yeah,
are you
go get
drinking?
water.
Fucking rain? What's the...
Children's tears.
God!
I'm Matt and I'm drinking Miller Lite.
Ditto.
He's
Okay.
Ditto and he's drinking.
I'm Ditto and I'm drinking Ditto.
Okay, so we got to start off with this weekend.
We didn't really do a whole lot though.
No, we didn't do a whole
Speak for
lot.
yourself.
You got some float in that glass, bud.
Not really.
Yeah, there's a big old floater in there. That's Edwardsville water for you.
What?
I see it. It's definitely there.
What a great, stunning visual for our audio podcast.
Yeah, if you guys can imagine this, there's a big, huge clump of shit in this glass of water.
There is not.
I saw it, I swear.
What, do you have fucking microvision?
Yeah, man, I see the microbes. My contacts.
He'll be fine.
I have like Tony Stark contact lenses. Okay, I can see it.
No, that's the design of the jar, bro.
Dude, I saw some.
No, I fucking saw it. No.
I fucking saw it.
Okay, this weekend, I went to the Edwardsville Beer Fest, which is a craft beer festival. One of my buddies, Joe White, was in town, so me and his sister, and yeah, Jesse went too. We went to the beer fest, and they go and they give you the fucking wristband and stuff, and then you would go and get these tokens, and you'd use the tokens to buy beer. I got fucking annihilated. I was so shitty, and then I showed back up.
You showed up to this apartment, or Adam's and Scott's, and when you first came over here, you were so psyched, like, let's play Castle Crashers. We just knew by looking at you and the way you were acting, there was no way you were gonna make it past 20 minutes.
Had the
You could
drunk
hardly-
swag.
you could hardly
shut the door
correctly.
Really wish I would have been here for this.
So we're like, hey, why don't you go lay down and take a nap? And you're like, dude, where? There's no place to sleep. Well, Scott's got an extra bed in his room, so we're like, hey, go down, lay down there, we'll get you up. And you're like, you were so convinced, you're like, wake me up in 45 minutes to an hour and I'll be fine. And we're like, oh, okay, we just told you what you wanted to hear. So you go to sleep, and then me and Scott are sitting there, we're like, we're gonna let him sleep it off until he feels like it. So then, alright, this is the other thing we couldn't figure out, whether it was just water or if you'd missed the toilet so bad.
Yeah.
Scott,
Did you piss on the floor?
I
dude?
don't know.
Dude, that's kind of fun piss.
Scott,
I cleaned
shake
it.
it out, and as he's shaking it, I was like, oh,
Was it on the rug?
it was on the
Yeah.
bottom.
Oh,
Dude,
damn.
You just fucking water sprinklered in our bathroom.
Dave stood up to go, we just hear him stand up, just stumble to the bathroom, and then he leaves, doesn't say a word, because Tyler was over here at that time. And then we're like, oh man, he must have been, I thought you were gonna throw up. Because the way you were stumbling, and we're like, Dane, you okay? You didn't say a word. You just slammed the door, and I'm like, oh man, it might be peak city time. But you held it together, then you woke up probably an hour later after that, and you're like, now I'm just really hungover. I need to go get some food. We're like, oh, okay, bye, Dane. He leaves here at 8:45. So you sent me a text at 9. I can't decide on what I want to eat. Send you one back. Hey, what are your options? Nothing. 10 o'clock rolls around. Nothing. 10:30 rolls around. I'm like, where the hell's Dane? So I call you. Don't pick up. I'm like, he might have just gone home and gone to sleep. That's what we were all convinced with. 11 o'clock. Call from Dane. Hey, so I might have fallen asleep in the parking lot of Wendy's for the last 2 hours.
When I woke up to the manager tapping on my window, and he goes, "Hey, you all right, bro?" Because what had happened is I pulled in to the parking lot of Wendy's because the drive-thru was it was too long a line, so I was just gonna go inside. And I pulled in, and they were playing "Radioactive" by Imagine Dragons. I'm like, I'll just finish the song out. Well,
You probably
fucking
shouldn't have.
slumped over, fell asleep. 2 hours later, I wake up to So the manager tapping on my window. He's like, "Hey man, you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I like pull out and I go around to the drive-thru. And I ordered like a number 2 combo meal. Guy hands me that and then hands me a whole other bag of food and just goes, "Just take it."
What the fuck?
So
He brought that demon home with him.
Guy gave him blowjobs in his car for Wendy's. God.
yeah.
So what did he give you in the bag? What
It was like
4 extra burgers.
Yeah, it was like 2
Fuck.
bacon cheeseburgers and 2 like other cheeseburgers.
You ever fall asleep at Wendy's every fucking night?
Do you
Jesus
think
Christ.
that's why he's like he's been there and like
He's seen it enough times where he's like, damn it, another
or
one.
it's like or he was in
This
the same
goddamn
place
economy.
as you and he woke up and he's like, "No, Wendy's, I should just get a job."
Yeah, he just goes to the plot.
And then like, he totally hates his job as manager, so he just sees like himself in
Just
you, and he
go.
was like, "I gotta save this kid,
Tear it
man.
up.
These burgers are gonna rejuvenate him."
Just burgers.
I can hope. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was my Saturday.
That sucked. Yeah, but then the Saturday just went downhill from there because you came back. We went
I was so
we went-
hungover.
We went to play Castle Crashers, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
You just
And
played it
then
so fucking
We had
much.
no. We only played it yesterday. It was the only time we played.
How long you played it for straight?
We didn't start until like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we
played
started
it
pretty
literally
late.
Oh, okay. I think I was
hours.
playing it literally like all fucking day. I was
No.
like, Jesus
I
Christ.
had to go to my group project. I didn't get back until almost 8 o'clock for that.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't. Yeah, I don't think we.
It
played
was
that
about
much.
3.5 hours.
Probably 3.5 hours.
I saw today that they have confirmed a Justice League movie and that they're
Right
giving.
after the Batman versus Superman movie, the guy's doing the Justice League movie right after that.
they're-
Fucking Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
yeah,
Zack
that,
Snyder.
yeah, that's
You know,
who
that'd
they're
be
doing
cool if someone like shot that guy in the face.
I'm not
Uh.
cool with Zack Snyder directing that.
Zack
movie.
Snyder
Was
is...
he the guy that made 300, right?
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He started
And
off...
Sin City.
Okay,
Yeah.
he started off... No, not Sin City. That was
Didn't he-
Robert Rodriguez.
I thought-
And
didn't he have something
Frank
to do with
Miller.
it?
No.
Okay, never mind. Sorry,
Anywho.
my ass.
He started off with the Dawn of the Dead remake, which is cool as fuck. No CGI, mind you.
Yeah, that was a good remake.
It was very good. And then he did fucking 300, also good. A lot of CGI, but it's still really good. After that, I think he did, like, Watchmen.
Yeah,
And that was...
I liked it.
I'm
Yeah,
iffy
liked
about it. I really like the
Watchmen.
comic. I thought it was okay. I was kind of a little disappointed, but I mean, it's a hard movie to make a comic about. And then after that, like... I'm trying to think what he did after that. Oh my god! Sucker Punch! Which
Oh.
was just a sucker punch in my testicles. That movie's a piece of shit.
Well, that's
Oh.
Zack Snyder. He's kind of sort of like the action movie version of M. Night Shyamalan. If you think
What a
about it.
twist!
That's a damn good analogy.
Like
His
one
first
or,
couple were good, and
yeah,
then
like,
we just
he
making
had like
shit
one or
bombs.
two good movies. And
Not as
just
extreme.
Exploded his career ever
mean,
since.
I mean,
But
yeah.
there's so many people
Yeah.
though. Like especially, I know you
Sixth
300.
Yeah, I loved her. I
watched
loved
300.
her.
I watched that and I just get jacked up. I want to fight a grizzly bear.
Yeah,
Man,
I
Man of
love
Steel
300.
was not that bad. It could be
no,
worse.
Man of Steel was
Yeah, it was.
fucking atrocious.
I thought it was better. I like Michael Shannon a lot. The bad guy. The guy from
Okay.
Boardwalk Empire. That fucking
If-
creepy man.
the only thing that would have
Yes,
the only thing that
definitely.
would have like made that better is
More
if,
Kevin Costner.
no.
More of him walking to a tornado.
No, if Superman would have taken a dump on my chest, which probably would have caved my like whole chest in, that would have made it better because I would have had to
Superdome.
fucking see it.
What did Superman Returns do to you then?
I cried. I'm not kidding. I cried in the theater.
Brandon Routh just like
I
put a
was-
steamer on you.
I was so pissed. I felt so betrayed.
God damn it.
Indiana Jones King of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, shut up!
I remember the
Shut up!
I remember the credits rolling and sitting there. I'm like, what the hell did I
Fucking
watch?
aliens. That's what you saw.
I cannot get over the fridge scene.
The fridge, man.
I can't-
a mile.
I can't get over it.
it's
I
really-
was in theaters, and this is when I'm in 6th grade or whatever
No, we were
it
in
came
high
out.
school.
No, I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
When
was.
was
It was.
I was a freshman.
It was like
08, 06?
I think it was like
It was like
freshman year.
2008 because
Yeah,
me
I was a
and you
sophomore.
and Verb and some of our other friends
Yeah,
saw it.
that's
Okay,
right.
So it was
You guys are
freshman year of
freshmen.
high school.
Yeah, and I was just like, this is retarded. This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
No,
like,
it's like really like if you watch that scene again, like he's just sitting there and all of a sudden he hears like the sirens go off. He's like looking around it, like turns the fridge, just knocks the shit out of the racks and just gets in there. He's okay.
Here's my thing with
Yeah.
it though.
I've actually heard people try and justify that, by the way.
Uh-oh.
That it, yeah, I'm
I mean,
not even kidding.
no,
The one line
I'm
of the
saying
fridge-
uh-oh because here's like, I don't totally hate that movie. I actually enjoyed Big
dude.
Here's the thing, though.
Dude.
I disagree. Here's the thing, though.
And that was the last time Carson ever.
Yeah, this is my last episode. No, here's the thing. Like, I think part of it, though, is that you have, like, the first 3 Star Wars movies, like Episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
4,
It's
5,
like,
and 6.
those were terrible.
Are we talking
The-
original
no,
or like
Not Mark
literally
Hamill.
one-
Yeah.
The one with Jar Jar Binks. All those, okay?
Oh,
Which-
God.
Yeah, like,
Fucking
like
Hayden
those are
Christensen and
just
shit.
terrible. Those movies
Yeah.
are terrible.
No, the third.
The
no,
third one is
third
the only one that's
one's
good.
decent. And even the third one is not as on. It's not on par with the old ones,
No.
but it is decent.
This is the guy who
first-
likes Kingdom of the Crystal
No,
Skull.
I'm not saying I liked it. That's the thing. I just don't think I hate it near as much as everyone else did.
The first 2 are fucking terrible.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then Indiana. See, the stance I come from that is I grew up watching Indiana Jones.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I didn't. See, like, I was part of those people that got swept in the hype of, Indiana Jones coming out, so we're going to release all new movies.
Yeah.
So, like, my brother and I found out that my dad got, like, the first run of the Indiana Jones DVDs.
Mhm.
So we're like, oh, crap, we'll just
Yeah,
watch
those are the
this
ones
and see
I've
the
got
movie.
actually. Yeah.
And so, like, because I didn't grow up on that, I feel like that has something to do with it. Like, it's pretty much after... you could almost say when they start, like, him and Mutt start, like, going
Oh my
and
god,
doing
you said his
things.
actual character's
Yeah.
name.
Okay, here's the reason
Yeah.
why. Here's kind of the reason why.
Oh yeah, I forgot it.
Do you know the Mr. Plinkett reviews at all? I know you do.
I love Mr. Plinkett.
Red Letter Media, there's this
I do not.
reviews they call it. They're Mr. Plinkett, and it's supposed to be this, like, deranged old man, and he has a whole review. It's like 40 minutes long. It's one of the shorter ones of
That's a
Kingdom of
short
the
one
Crystal.
at 40 minutes.
Dude,
Yeah.
he has all 3 of the first.
Indiana
Well,
Jones.
the first 3
Oh.
Star Wars movies.
They're all longer than the actual movie.
They're like 2 hours apiece, but they're awesome. They all make great.
They're so
They're
good.
also hilarious too.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things is like they bring up some really good points. It's like the first part of the movie, like when it's just sort of like Indiana Jones, he meets his son.
Yeah.
Like that's okay.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's like, but then they go and do things that, and it's bad.
Like,
See,
like just the
I
like,
just hate that man. I
where's
hate
all
him.
the back child support, Dad? That would have been okay.
I like because I didn't like Shia LaBeouf.
I hate
I
him.
know there's a lot of
Every
people that
fucking
do.
thing
I
he's in.
don't.
I just cannot stand that fucker.
I
Jesus
think
Christ.
I think that the reason is though is like it's sort of that novelty is like
He was a good commodity at the time.
Let me finish it. Like just seeing Indiana Jones on screen, okay, just that little tiny bit. It's like, oh, this is cool, but then you realize it's like he's kind of a bewildered old man.
Yeah,
He doesn't really know what's going on. It's just
so bad.
The ants kill me too.
Yeah.
Remember the ant
Oh
scene?
yeah,
Like the
yeah.
fucking fire ants?
yes, that's the biggest point that they bring up though. It's like Indiana Jones doesn't murder anybody. It's like
Yeah.
in Temple of Doom,
They calculated 33 people with his bare hands. He
Yeah.
murders. Like he directly kills 30 people.
Yeah, who the hell said that?
what?
Like Indiana Jones doesn't murder people.
No.
Plink-
That's the
Yeah.
the
In the
plot
new
line
one.
of Crystal Skulls. He doesn't kill anybody. Like it's like the other movies are great because he doesn't care. He just kills people.
Yeah.
Like in this one,
He kills like 13 people in just the in Raiders.
Yeah, it's like he.
Yeah, Raiders is sweet.
It's like in Crystal
so
Skull, he
That's
maybe
the best
killed
one.
one.
That
guy
might be
on
the
screen.
one of the best movies of the 80s.
Yeah.
Like top 3.
All 3 of them are great.
It's not top 3.
I mean,
I would
the
say
80s.
so.
For the 80s. Think
Yes.
about the 80s.
Top Gun.
I'm thinking.
You have Top Gun.
Raiders looks way better than Top
Breakfast
Gun.
Club,
You
16
have-
Candles.
Those are all the same movie.
You have
Okay.
Die Hard.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I like
Back
Raider-
to the Future is my
Oh,
favorite
Back
movie
to
of
the
all time.
Future.
They're all like really
Really
iconic, and it's like whatever one you like the more when
Ghostbusters.
you're a fucking kid. Is what
Even
you're
Back
like
to the
better.
Future's
It's just
even
a
Back to the
preference
Future
thing.
2, not 3, but 2.
I don't think like they're not anywhere near as good as the
No,
first.
they're not bad.
Three
I
is
don't
awesome.
think they're terrible.
3 is awesome.
I-
I really like 3.
That's by far my least
3
favorite.
is my
Really?
least favorite, but I
if
still
you watch
enjoy it
2,
because
it's really fucking dated, and the graphics are
Yeah.
horrible. But 3 holds its ground. Like if you watch it now, it's like
Nothing-
I dig it.
nothing
Man.
to me
my-
beats
my
The
the
Western
thing-
aspect of it, I really like it.
well, the thing I like about 3 is that it's the most that like modern day Doc and Marty are on screen together, so you
Yeah.
actually
Yeah,
get the
there's always that barrier
relationship.
thing. They don't like know each
Yeah,
other.
'cause
You know,
in, like,
that
the
is
first
that
movie-
is really nice
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
And then the second movie, it's like they're together, but they're also split up quite a lot. Whereas in the third movie, it's like he finds Doc and they're together for the rest of the film until the end, and they
You're
meet
seeing
back
the Old
up,
West,
but
and he says his name is Clint Eastwood.
I love that.
That
yeah.
is the best thing ever.
We are
Okay, so-
forgetting the best
Just-
80s
just-
movie ever, though.
Just hold that thought. Just so you know, I was always hoping that King of the Crystal Skull did really bad box office.
It
No,
killed
no,
it.
It
did
made
great.
All right, so the budget was 185 million, and I guarantee you 150 of that was just a crappy CGI,
Yeah.
just being horrid.
And she
it
is
made
leather jacket.
$786 million.
Oh
Yeah,
my
dude.
god.
It's,
Well, that's like the same thing with Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah, it made a ton of money.
It
It
did.
made over $1 billion.
But, okay, if you were
Pizza
going...
Hut bucks. They made the advertising for that fucking movie for Pizza Hut.
Like, if
That's
you were going
standing.
back, okay, and you had watched the original trilogy of Star Wars, and you grew up with... I grew up with Star Wars and stuff. Like, my dad was a big Star Wars fan. And you grew up with that, and then they come out and say, hey, we're going to make another trilogy set as a prequel. Of course, you're gonna fucking freak out. Of course, people are gonna... I mean, people were camping out in front.
Oh, yeah,
of
definitely
movie theaters
were.
to get
you
tickets.
also have to look at it like this. Like,
I mean, you didn't know it was gonna be crap.
Well, like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, you guys have this poster right over here. It just says Star Wars on it. So it's like the first time that you go and see Star Wars, like way back in the 70s, okay? That the first movie comes out, and it says Episode 4. And so for decades, you're like, Episode 4.
Yeah, what the
No,
fuck?
no,
Well,
let me
one
clarify.
said
Yeah, it never said
It
episode.
didn't?
No.
That
came later.
That
That came later.
That came way later.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay. How later did it?
Was that when they did the
I
re-releases?
think he decided after Return of the Jedi he was going to do prequels.
Was it?
Yeah, and then he
Okay,
waited.
the reason that I say that is because whenever I first watched it,
You see that?
well,
Yeah,
I had,
exactly. We saw
I had
it.
the
For us.
VHS
Yeah.
that I was always told was never altered, so that's why I thought. But my point
Originally,
is
just
still like way back when you have even still, if it's not to the 70s, you still have a very long period of time where people are like 4, 5, and 6.
Mhm.
What's Episode 1? And like I didn't really get into Star Wars until later, but I remember being a kid and people were like, other little kids at the time, because when you're a kid, everything's great. They were like, "Oh, Episode 1, it's so cool." I remember trying to watch it so many times as a kid, and I was like, "This is stupid." And I'm older now, and it's still stupid.
I liked it at the time.
I would actually
I didn't.
disagree because I saw the first 3 before, and I still like the first one. I actually do still like the first one. I don't mind.
Yeah, you
it.
guys, you
I don't mind it.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I don't-
I really don't
Right.
think it's as bad as people
I don't think.
say.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh, it was awful. It was a train wreck." It really was. All right. The problem that it had is you didn't develop Darth Maul like they should have. They just threw him out there like, "Look, he's a cool dude.
It's
He's
badass.
got-
They
Yeah.
also had some bad dialogue, which I
Yeah.
you
Some
can't
metachlorians, man.
deny. But I mean, like,
Plus, you had
All
child
right,
actors.
After the
and you can't-
podcast, we're gonna watch the Episode 1 Plinkett review, and it'll
Yes.
change your fucking mind.
Yep.
He
I'm
will
totally
he
cool
will
with it.
destroy everything that you like about that movie.
Time for a leak dump. Put the
but I
Mr.
can
Blinker
say the
review
same
in there.
thing about fucking A New Hope. Like, they're all like, "Oh, Anakin's a whiny bitch." I could say the same fucking thing about Luke. I could say
Well-
the same fucking thing about shitty dialogue from all those other ones.
Yeah, but the thing is that was made back in like.
And
the
don't even
70s.
get me started.
what I
Don't even
like-
get me started on the Ewoks.
Oh God.
Don't even
Okay,
do that.
yeah, I do have a problem with that. Yeah.
Well, that's always been the thing, though. But what I have heard is that the first Star Wars movie, Episode 4, was supposedly when it was filmed just absolutely terrible, and I guess editing is what saved it. And that review, not to get into it too much, but because we can move on to other things, but one of the things he brings up is like, it seems like back then, George Lucas, there were more people that questioned what he did.
Yeah.
And instead, when Episode 1 rolled around, it's almost
He had
like
full
has-
control, is
he
what
has
you're saying?
full control, and so anytime he says anything, everyone just nods their head.
There's
and
no
says,
creative
okay.
filter.
Well, he
of
didn't
saying-
direct He didn't direct Empire Strikes Back and fucking Return of the Jedi,
No,
did
he didn't, no.
Exactly, and like it's arguable that the fucking Empire Strikes Back is like one
Yeah,
of the
it's
best
already.
movies.
Yeah, I would actually
You know what I
say
mean?
it's
Yeah,
better than
yeah.
Exactly, I would say so too. And like he didn't
Oh.
even want the dark ending,
Dude,
like the darker kind of ending to like the second
Empire
one.
is fucking sweet.
Dude, it's
great.
definitely
But see,
sweet.
last thing about Star Wars that I want to say is that like as a kid I loved Star Wars
Mhm.
and I was like, oh my god, Star Wars, but I could not get Star Trek. I like did not fucking understand it. I was like, this is stupid.
Dude, I dug
Now-
Star Trek.
now-
I dig it.
I didn't like it then, but yeah, I like it
Now I'm totally the opposite. I couldn't give a shit about the new Star Wars that they're making, but you tell me, and even like I've talked to you about how I had a problem with
Yeah.
Into Darkness, but
You didn't like Into the Darkness?
No.
I thought it was awesome.
No,
That was fucking great.
I could see if you had a problem with like the ending, how like they switched it from like
wasn't
the
even
two.
the ending. I had a problem with the whole movie.
I don't get you. Continue what you're saying. What were you saying? Go what you're saying. We'll get into that.
But like Star Trek, I liked as I got older because I felt that Star Wars was very action based, and it was like as a little kid that's what you want to see, whereas Star Trek is very thought provoking.
See, I was like not. Oh, God.
The action's kind of it takes a back seat to it.
This sentence gonna sound really nerdy, but it's almost more intellectual in a sense.
Yeah, it's more philosophical.
Like
there's more adult themes.
See, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, now here's why I did not like Into Darkness, and I can't say I didn't like it because I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it as a Star Trek movie.
It's got RoboCop in it. You can't argue against that.
Here's my problem with it. Is that I'm coming from...
Wait, you like the first one?
I love the first one.
I don't understand it all.
Okay.
Go on. Keep going. Just keep going.
No, I'm with you on this.
You didn't like it either?
I'm with Dane. I liked it, but it wasn't as good as the first, and there were things that bothered me. But I'm going to let him explain his points, and then we'll go to mine.
Okay, here's what bothered me about Into Darkness. I came from watching the original series, Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, and then even up until Enterprise when they did that. So I was used to, this is Star Trek. Like, this is how Star Trek works. Because even, like, they switch ships, they switch crews, it's set in different times. But you always have, like, a common tone and a common theme throughout the series, you know? Like, the action. Like, there were battle scenes and stuff all throughout Star Trek, but they always took a back seat to the actual problems that were happening. You know what I mean? Like, if it was, like, okay, like, how many episodes do you remember that it was, like, specifically, oh, we're fighting the Klingons, or we're fighting the Borg, or whatever? I mean, that happened a lot. And,
all the best ones.
Well, that happened a lot, but can you remember a specific battle scene? But I can remember the episode of where they have to argue whether Data is actually alive or not. Like, I liked the like philosophical aspect of the show more than I did the battle sequences, and I liked that the battle sequences kind of took a back seat. Like, they were there and they were still important because it's like, hey, this is space, you know, it's dangerous, but it was a back seat. And I felt that in Into Darkness, they switched the roles and they said, well, it's not going to be about discovery and exploration so much, and it's going to be pure just pew 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 action. And I liked it, but I thought that they really reversed the roles, and it bothered me a little bit from coming from the aspect of just the show.
Well, I don't know. I feel like the original.
I kind of want to comment on that because you say like they didn't do the there was more action, but arguably the best Star Trek movie is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Wrath of Khan, yeah.
That had so much action.
No, see, I've got a problem with Wrath of Khan, though, too.
Oh, come on! God fucking damn it! Shut the fuck up!
I was never into Star Trek. Like, the first Star Trek thing that I was ever, like, really exposed to was the movie that came out in 2009. Okay.
Yeah, that was mine too.
I
still haven't even seen any of the original.
Oh wow.
You could ask me anything about Star Trek and I'd just sit there and look you straight in the face and be like, I have no clue.
Yeah, like
right in your fucking suck hole.
Like here's the thing. I had no interest in seeing that movie just because it was like, oh, it's Star Trek, whatever. But my friend took me to it and I was like, that was awesome. I really liked it. That's surprising. So I was really looking forward to the second movie, and whenever I finally saw it, I liked it, but coming from like a movie standpoint. You came from a Star Trek standpoint, I'm coming from a movie standpoint. There's a lot of things that is in the plot that if you just stop for a second and think about, you're like, don't make no sense.
Why are you fucking doing
like it's literally pretty much like they're taking a set of keys and jingling it in your face so that you don't think too long. Like there's always something happening, and that I liked. Because it's not an intellectual movie or, like a movie that's supposed to make you think. It's a dumb action movie.
Yeah, it's supposed to be exciting and
I like that.
Yeah.
I like an action movie.
It's a little more wit than just a dumb action movie. Like, I wouldn't compare it to the same old fuking Transformers or something.
No, yeah, those are...
Those aren't even dumb action movies. Those are just Michael Bay.
Those are bad movies.
When I say dumb action movie, I just think it's all action. Am I right? There's
a little bit more to it than that, I'd say.
No, there is. But my point is that it's action. But here's the thing, okay? Here's like one of the biggest things that bothered me, right? Spock's big thing, prime directive,
Yeah.
directive, right? Then why was he willing to like go into the
volcano? Because that
and
was
stop
his
everything.
prime directive.
Like, that was the first thing that was like that.
And they go into like how it's like him fighting like his prime directive versus like his ability to love, like it's
But
a whole
see-
like dynamic of just arguing between each other.
But the thing is like there's stuff the whole time. Like it doesn't make sense. Like what if that bothered him so much? Why did he agree to the first one in the first place?
He's
then
conflicted,
there's
man. It's
also-
human nature.
And then there's also the issue of like
You're right.
What's conflicting about
well, it's
it?
very similar to the first movie as well, where it's like okay, first
So
movie.
why did you not like the second one, but you like you
I
like
didn't
the
get
first
into that.
one? Okay,
I didn't.
sorry.
Yeah, you keep cutting me off.
I'm
man.
sorry, but I'm
And
just trying to
keep
connect the
telling you,
dots here.
I did not like the second movie. I told you I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was as good as the first because it's almost a rehash of the first. Hear me out, okay? The thing is like first movie, Spock's big deal, his big character development. He learns how to control and use his emotions. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Second
Is that
movie.
character development though, or is it more of him accepting that Kirk's gonna be his captain, and then like even though that he like Kirk goes, I'm not
I
gonna
would
use
say
logic.
it's more the
I'm just
control of
gonna.
his emotions, like you
I thought it was more of him accepting Kirk going like, I don't really need a plan. I'm just gonna go in there and wing it, and it's gonna work out.
that was part of
Can
it.
we just agree that Kirk is a terrible fucking captain? That dude's total shoot from the hip. Like, Captain, what's your plan? Nah, we'll just go do
well,
it.
you know what? You know
We'll
what,
work
Dane?
it out.
You know what, Dane? It works.
It works because it's a movie.
But I mean that
You know who also did that? Han Solo, and he shot first.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
okay. But the thing is like, okay, second movie. That's like the exact same thing. Like one of the first things that happens, like the first 20 minutes, is Kirk's like, Spock, you're my buddy. And then he's like, he's supposed to be like, Kirk, you're my buddy too. And he doesn't say anything. And then whenever Kirk sacrifices himself, he's like, wait, Kirk was my buddy. Now I'm mad.
I
So
love
it's
you,
like
buddy.
it's the same thing. It's like he has to learn his emotions.
I think you're oversimplifying the shit out of it.
No,
But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
I mean,
No.
here-
is anyone with me here?
I mean, I can't.
I don't know.
You're not oversimplifying. I think you're looking too deep.
I'm not
into
looking
it,
too deep, but I'm just thinking. I'm not thinking it's a big fucking dumb movie.
I'm
I
just-
think it's a little bit more.
no, I'm not
clear,
saying it's-
actually, is what I'm saying.
My thing is just I don't think it's a bad movie,
Yeah.
and I don't even I liked it.
Yeah.
I did
But-
like it. It's
but
just
the thing
not,
is, I
don't
just
think
didn't
it's
like
great.
it as much as the first. And the thing is like I would say that someone like you would probably like them to do something new. Maybe I'm wrong, but the thing is like me, the very little bit that I know is from assimilation. Like I'm one of the dummies that's like, okay, I recognize Kirk and I recognize Spock. I recognize the whatever.
Oh, the
Yeah, the live long and
Lieutenant
prosper, and I recognize someone screaming Khan, and I recognize the name Khan.
You know where I got really excited though with Into Darkness, and I mean, from all the elements that I could be like,
Was it
man,
that Sherlock was Khan?
I
Cumberbatch.
did
Oh,
like
God.
Benedict Cumberbatch a lot as Khan. But I loved at the end of it how they started with the intro for the entire like series. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Okay, if they decide to make a third movie,
another thing.
and because they're going into deep space. At the end of that, they're going into deep space for the exploration, which presumably is where they would have started the show, because it's like, hey, we're going out in space, we're going to go explore. If they did a movie that was that, no problems, man. Fucking make that. Please, God, make that. Because I would love to go see it.
But here's the thing you said earlier. You said that, like, you had a problem with Into Darkness because it didn't go into the exploration, but yet this is setting it up for the exploration.
If that is what they do with it, then I take back everything I said.
But do they need?
If that's what they go
But
for.
do they need 2 whole movies to
to
set
set
up?
it up?
I mean, for real.
Well,
Like,
I don't know.
How much do you really need to know? Like,
Well, because it's not like they're remaking the series. I mean,
No.
I guess they're
They
going back.
technically
and
are a
remaking
little
the
bit, like the whole
movies,
the whole aspect
They
of
kinda
like they're
are,
going back and like he fucking like Eric Bana changes everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, they kind of set it up a little.
But I mean, like
differently.
they're not remaking like the series. You know
They're
what I
just
mean?
making like a
they're
different
making a different version of the
time-
movies.
like sliver. I don't know. It's weird. I don't
It'll
know.
be its own timeline.
Yeah.
the other thing though that like I said that I came from kind of a movie thing, and I know that you said you like the more intellectual stuff. But there's no way that in like 2014, in this day and age, that they could release a movie like the first Star Trek the Motion Picture, where everything is just really, really slow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
actually going to say something
Like, that's
about
the
that.
only way that they can make Star Trek now that it's going to sell is make it an action
Well, that's like,
movie. And the thing is I'm not saying it's dumb action, which I did say earlier, and I retract that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is,
Thank
is
you.
like not like dumb action where it's just
more action heavy than it is plot, like development of characters, because like they have to keep you entertained to a point where you're like,
it's kind of like they're shining the light in your eye, and they're kind of doing this,
A lot
so you're
of
not
people-
really paying attention
a
to
lot
this
of
part.
people now-
Okay, the lens flares.
a lot of people
Alright.
don't have like, an attention span. Like they go like, all right, the biggest one that this drives me insane still to this day. So the Avengers comes out, and then the Dark Knight Rises come out.
Oh god.
Awesome. Yeah.
People cried. They're like the Dark Knight is so boring because they set up. They gave great character development and like
I love the Dark Knight.
I did-
Rises. It was
Yeah,
great.
it's awesome.
Right?
It's really good.
Vein, and then they're like, "Oh, the Avengers was so much better." And I'm like, "No, the Avengers had little plot. Loki shows
They're-
back up. How do you do it?
They're
I don't know.
completely opposite
Magic.
fucking movies, yeah.
And also, like, the Avengers had almost like a fun comedy aspect.
It was
to
very
It wasn't-
more
And
human,
the
so
Dark
lighthearted.
Knight is not
It's dark,
dark
as
as
shit,
shit,
and it's
yeah.
realistic, and
Okay.
it's like a real fucking movie. You know what I mean? It's
and me,
epic.
You and me went and saw the Avengers together. Fuck, we dressed up for the Avengers.
well, we went and saw the Avengers together, and we saw the Dark Knight.
Alright, wait, hold on. What were you guys' costumes, first of all?
I was Hawkeye.
His was legit. Mine was dime store. I was Thor.
Hawkeye
Here's a
costume
nice
was
Jeremy
dope.
Renner.
Here's the thing,
Yeah.
literally, all of us, like the week before, were like, let's go to Goodwill. So we did. And mine, I think
You had
I
a Thor
bought like,
costume there?
dude, I bought like a sweater and cut off the sleeves. So that was supposed to be like the armor. I bought a red blanket. That was my cape. I went to Walmart and bought the hammer. I still have the hammer somewhere. And then at the time, I had like a real big curly afro thing going on. So, our friend Shelby came over and she just straightened my hair so it was long enough for that. And then I didn't even think about it, but I didn't have like a beard or anything going on. But it was just like, whatever.
Okay, we're just gonna
And like by the time I looked at it, I was like, okay, so if Thor went to college, this is what he'd look like.
Yeah.
So that's who I was.
Hawkeye and Thor, and then our buddy Gary, who's big guy.
Well, at the time, he was huge.
Yeah.
Like he's
He
dropped,
went
he's
as-
dropped to like 80 pounds
He
now,
went
but-
as
Lou
Lou
Ferrigno.
Ferrigno Hulk. It took.
I like that he wears the loop
When I showed up to Carson's house to get ready to go, Gary was like, "Hey man, you mind helping me out here?" He went and bought like 5 tubes of acrylic green paint, and so it took 5 tubes. We fucking painted his whole body. He had like jean shorts that were all ripped up, and he had a flannel that was all like destroyed and stuff. He looked awesome.
It was great. We had our buddy Joe White
Oh
come
god,
with us, right?
his costume was
You
terrible.
can't even call it a costume.
It's like a
okay?
firefighter.
Here's the thing. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go as Captain America. And we're like, all right, cool. He shows up with jeans. I think it was jeans,
Yeah.
red suspenders, and a blue shirt. And we're like, do you have like a hat or something? He's like, no.
Do you have like
Do
a shield?
you have a shield? No. How are people supposed to know you're Captain America? I'm Captain America. They'll know.
Don't worry about
We're
it.
like, no, you look like a firefighter or a really bad Mario.
Look at
You
Gallagher.
don't look like Captain America.
And then Forrest went as
No, Forrest was the one.
who went as somebody went as Iron Man, right? No, nobody went as Iron Man. Shelby went as
Shelby went as Black Widow.
and then Luke didn't dress up at all, which was
No, Luke,
He had
Luke wasn't. It was Jaina and Chase that went with us, and
Chase
Jaina-
had the best like excuse
Yeah,
for not dressing
Chase-
up though.
our buddy Chase was with us, and he just had a white shirt with a little troll face on it before it had gotten really old, and it just said, it was like Iron Man costume. You mad, bro? And that's all it was. And he
My
like
God.
drawn it on with marker.
Oh my god.
Like, we unfortunately didn't get a picture of that. And then I think Jaina had like the same thing, but she was someone else.
Yeah.
And then, do we want to talk about the last person that was
Yeah,
with us?
my ex-girlfriend Allie went as Miss Marvel, which was a pretty legit
Yeah,
costume.
okay.
actually.
Hers was the only one out of all of us that actually looked good.
Yeah, hers was good.
Like,
And I don't.
let's be honest.
I don't remember.
That
Like,
was
she
it.
went and bought some stuff, but I don't remember how she even made that. Like she made it, but I don't remember. It was a
It
cool
was,
costume.
pretty awesome.
Going back to what were you guys gonna say before we even got into the whole costume thing about the Avengers
Oh.
and the Dark Knight?
We went and saw the Avengers together and stuff, and I like the Avengers.
I do too. I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
No, I like it a lot. I
I'm just
really
saying,
do fucking
people-
like it.
People went and saw it, and then they went to see The Dark Knight,
And they,
and they're like, oh, The Dark
It's
Knight
apples
was
and
super
oranges,
boring,
yeah.
and
Well,
it was
exactly.
lame, and I'm like, no, it was because The Avengers is more for, like, I don't want to say kids,
It's
but
more of an
It's supposed to be
more
more
of an
fun.
epic movie
Yeah,
as
it's
Dark Knight
more
Rises. You know what I
fun.
mean?
And then Dark Knight
Like it's
Rises
not like Revolution and shit. You know what I mean?
Like,
There's
it was
some really good like
wrapping everything up.
themes in
The
it.
Avengers, you could go in, not have seen any of the other movies, and it still makes sense.
Yep.
You go in The Dark Knight Rises,
You'd
you
go-
could kind of pick
Yeah.
up on stuff, but like when Liam Neeson shows up like in the jail and he's talking to him and he goes like, "Oh, I thought you were dead," and he goes like, "I'm just like." You're just
I'm
like there to
immortal,
be
whatever,
immortal.
like,
It's like I'm just a figment of your imagination.
Liam Neeson
And,
is
like,
immortal.
He's just like talking to him, and then like if you watch that, you're like, why did Liam Neeson show up, and why is that important? Then you also like when the first time that he sleeps with Talia, she has the scar, and if you go back and you watch the first movie, like Batman Begins, that's the branding symbol for the entire League of Shadows.
Yeah.
So when you saw that, you're like, holy crap!
Didn't
it's League
pick
of
that one up,
Shadows.
Batman.
No, he
Get the pussy on your mind, Batman.
No, he was thinking about Rachel's charred
I-
body all over
I
the place.
feel that the Avengers didn't have a whole lot of plot because they had
didn't.
They had 6 movies to make the
And
plot.
there was basically, and there's so
Like, they
many
had 6
characters.
movies before that was like, this is the plot, and then it's like, yeah, we don't need one.
I mean, it's
I
fucking
wouldn't
cool.
say that it didn't have a plot so much as it didn't have like a complex plot.
No, it was very simple.
It was
and
like-
I was good. I had a
it's-
lot of fun
you
watching.
don't
it.
It's very. That's a perfect analogy. It's fun. It's a fun
You
fucking
don't.
movie.
You didn't
yeah.
go to that movie for the plot. You went to see all of your favorite
Yeah,
heroes
it's in a
interact with
blender.
each
You know
other.
what I mean?
Like, honest to God, my favorite parts of that movie is just Tony Stark and Bruce Banner
Oh, just
chilling
going at
out and just shooting it in
Well,
the
like,
lab together.
I also love that a lot of that, especially in Robert Downey Jr.'s case, was improv. Like the part where he is like trying to get Bruce Banner to like have a blueberry.
yeah.
They apparently kept getting really pissed at Robert Downey Jr. because he'd just go and hide food all over the set, and he would just like have it stashed in different places. And so when in that scene, he just reaches in like a drawer and grabs out a like thing of blueberries, and it was just food that he like hid a couple hours later to like eat later. He starts doing it while it's on take, and then starts like, you know,
I think my
improv,
favorite-
and they kept it in the movie, and it's fucking great. Like
my favorite
I mean,
part is just like when he's arguing, like when Robert Downey Jr. is arguing with Captain America, because Captain America comes from like the hey, this is how we do it, we follow orders, and this is how it goes. And then like when Tony Stark, like when all those people die, like on the ship, like when they get attacked, and like he goes, is this the first time you've lost a soldier? And he goes like, I'm not a soldier, but it's like you kind of are, because like you took the whole role of I'm gonna be the protector, and
Yeah.
if you let people die, that's kind of on you. And we're like, Captain America's just like, oh, if you take away that suit, what are you? And he's like, oh, and he goes with the douchiest answer possible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
$1 million
Playboy.
Playboy. Yeah.
And then like I just felt like I know like that was entertaining to me because it's like ha, but if you took that suit away, Captain America is gonna pound into the ground.
Well, I think the impressive thing about the Avengers is that there's so many fucking comic book characters. They all get their own like time. That like. Their own like shiny moments. You know what I mean? There's no like. I mean, I probably Iron Man gets more than anything. Probably, I'd say.
I thought like,
But it's
we were
pretty
gonna have a
fucking
ton of time,
even.
too.
You know what I
Like,
mean?
when
Like
she
it's
goes to
pretty.
see
They do.
Loki?
They have their own like scene where they like they have a. I don't
Like
know.
a moment, like
They split it up pretty evenly. I think. I don't know. I liked
Widow
it.
she had more time than I thought anybody else.
Well,
would
that's
watch
because
it.
Scarlett Johansson has quite an ass.
No, I'm just saying, like, when she goes to see Loki, and, like, Loki's totally reading her, like, oh, you have blood, like, all over your record, and, like, Scarlett Johansson kind of plays him, and then he kind of plays her at the same time.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm like, that was pretty cool.
Okay, like with like I like all the individual movies. Well, kind of. I like all the Iron Man movies. Fucking love.
I
Like
didn't like
Oh,
Iron Man 2.
I think it's pretty
I like
good.
Iron Man.
I liked
too, but
Iron
I
Man.
thought
It was the weakest
It's definitely
of
the
all of them, but yeah, it was good.
I'm just even on it. Like, it was, like, I was glad I saw it, but then, like,
Iron Man 3
Yeah.
was my favorite out of the series,
Man,
and
dude.
people fucking.
Dude,
people got so pissed at
the
that
director's
movie.
the guy who wrote Lethal Weapon.
The guy. People
Enough
got,
said.
It's been revoked.
Exactly, that guy.
People get mad because it's like,
No, it's really fucking good.
they're like,
I like
oh,
it a lot.
there's not enough Iron Man in the Iron Man movie. But here's what I've always said about Iron Man, and that is like most superhero movies. What do you want to see? You want to see the superhero most of the time because the superhero is more interesting
Although
than the alter ego.
I will argue, though, with The Dark Knight, I wanted to see more of the Joker than I did Batman, just because Heath Ledger
He just rocked it.
Yeah.
He just
But
destroyed.
most of the time you want to see
yeah,
the
but for the
superhero.
most part, yeah, you
Yeah.
want to see him being the superhero, not
And the thing about the Iron Man movies is that Tony Stark, as a character and, you know, on screen, is infinitely more interesting than Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like, so the fact that it was pretty much a whole movie, and to me it made sense because that was the one that came out right after Avengers, and it's like,
Yeah, he's still fucked up. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's got some issues going on.
Literally, he's the guy. He's like, I am what would normally be just a normal man.
Yeah.
And I stare death in the face. I went to an alternate dimension. It's like it's pretty much he's got like PTSD and how he's
basically the complaints I heard about Iron Man 3 were, one, he just ain't cocky enough. He's like he's not even Tony Stark anymore.
Says the strong Southerner from Tennessee.
The point of the development.
If you go through the comics, like there is a turning point in the Iron Man franchise where Tony Stark really kind of stops being like that because he's kind of like, oh fuck, like he gets kind of to be just a fucked up dude. Because I mean, you would after seeing that, like you're just a normal dude, like you're gonna have some fucking issues.
Yeah,
and that's something that in the superhero universe they never touch on. It's like you'll go in, you'll wreck 5,000 people and see like 1 million people die, and then you'll be just fine. You'll wake up the next day and be like,
huh, what about Batman and his
parents? This was like the first thing.
That's why I liked with the Dark Knight, because he was depressed because he couldn't save Rachel, and it took a toll on his body, and he was worn out.
Yeah, he was all fucked up and like
and then everybody was like, it was too real.
New knee thing.
Good, because a normal person couldn't just be like, I'm gonna slap on a suit, put a bunch of money towards this, go around and fight crime for decades.
Also, with Iron Man 3, I loved what they did with the Mandarin. I was so worried when they were like, oh, the Mandarin's going to be the villain. I was like, fuck. Like, this is going to be weak.
That was what a lot of people hated, and...
Dude, I thought it was an
great.
awesome way to do it.
Like,
I love that part where he, like, finally finds the Mandarin. It's like Ben Kingsley's all, like, a coked-out actor. Like,
Budweiser.
Banging whores.
Gosh. No, I thought the dialogue greatly increased in Iron Man 3 too. But Shane Black's the shit.
I liked. I mean, the Avengers was fun. I had a lot of fun going to see that. I did not have fun seeing The Dark Knight Rises, but I loved it. Like, it wasn't a fun movie.
Well,
you just watched it and you're like,
it's
fuck.
It's like you're saying apples to oranges.
Yeah.
They're superhero movies, and that's pretty much where
the themes are like. Well, first of all, Avengers didn't really have a fucking theme. Like Dark Knight's got like current themes going on each movie. You know what I mean? There's like issues going on.
I mean, fantasy
to a point.
Well, I mean,
no. I mean, Avengers. The theme is like fantasy.
No, I meant like deeper fucking themes. You know what I mean? Like, what's the whole deep? You know what I mean? There's
like,
really nothing there.
This kind of thing.
Like,
because if Samuel L. Jackson tells you to do something, you do.
Okay. That is. I would. Fuck it.
I don't know if you guys have seen the new Captain America yet.
Yes.
I'm actually going to see it. I've heard it's great. Yeah.
I hated the first movie. I hated the first.
I thought it was okay.
I thought it was okay.
I thought it was rushed so bad. Like, especially the part where they're like going and knocking off like the Nazi bases and stuff. I just was like, it took the whole thing took like 10 minutes. If you haven't seen the first Captain America by now, go fuck
Captain
yourself.
America kills Nazis?
It was on Netflix Instant Queue. Like, you should have seen it by now.
Yeah, the first time I saw it was on Netflix with Scott, like, sophomore year. I'm like, I didn't go to see it, and he's like, it's pretty good, so we watched it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go check it out this Thursday.
I didn't like the first one. I loved the second one. It was really good. Yeah. I really liked that they... Well, because in the Marvel universe, when they do... when they have the Marvel Civil War, the two big proponents of each side of the Civil War are Tony Stark and then on one side and Steve Rogers on the other. And the whole issue starts from the government being like, hey, we want to open up a registry, and if you're a superhero or mutant or whatever, you have to come and register with the government, register your identity, and that's, how we're going to do. So that way we know who you are.
Yeah.
And Tony Stark's like, well, fuck, I did this from the beginning. Why shouldn't everybody else? And Captain America's like, go fuck yourself. And it starts the whole thing. And I liked how they kind of made him a little more of a renegade, because it was like, well...
That's what they kind of did in the new one? I haven't seen
fucking seen it. Like, he kind of
Don't spoil any of this fucking movie, by the way. He's Thursday.
He's Captain America, but it's like...
He's a bit more of a hard-ass.
Like America good, American government bad, and he like makes the distinction of like
Robert Redford's in it, right?
Yeah.
Is he pretty good in it?
Yeah.
Not to spoil anything else.
Don't spoil anything else.
I'm not. What I'm saying is that it's probably different than what you might go in expecting.
I heard an analogy said it was like the Jason Bourne of superhero movies.
That's not a bad way to put it.
That's pretty decent. Not bad. And the Falcon was fucking awesome.
I heard Falcon's good. Cool. Heard the villain's good.
Yeah.
It's good, yeah.
It's awesome. I really liked it.
I'm going to check it out. Awesome. Avengers 2 comes out next
year.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Shit.
We've talked about movies for like the first 40
Whole
minutes of the
podcast.
podcast.
Okay, so this whole podcast has been Nerdcast
Yeah,
this whole time.
that's
This
fine.
is
I thought that's
So
what
way
I
different than
I'm gonna lean
normal
into my first, the thing that I thought of.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
What is it like? What is an embarrassing story or moment that you've had in your life where like you look at it now and you laugh at it? 'Cause
God
you're like,
fucking damn it.
It's funny now, but at the time you were like, dude, I just screwed up, or like, man, I don't want to show up and see those kids anymore.
Oh god.
I think I already mentioned I shit my pants at Disney World, so...
No,
I totally said that story.
We did not mention that on the
I totally said
podcast.
that story.
I did not mention that on the podcast.
You sure?
I'm
I don't-
positive.
I think he did. I think it was episode.
I'm
like,
pretty sure. It was like the first one I was on. I
It was
mentioned
episode 2
this
that he mentioned it.
this fucking Disneyland Duke. So if you guys want to hear it, you go back to fucking episode 2 and listen
Oh
to
no,
it.
actually we didn't.
No.
No, we
No, we
disagreed.
didn't.
No?
Because I've
This is
listened,
not a
I've listened to
podcast.
episode 2. We
This
did
is-
not talk about a shitting your pants.
This was
I
not on the
remember that.
podcast. This
But that was just
us
fucking
sitting
around. This
Yeah.
wasn't like for real life. I guess I'll
All
start
right,
this off.
number one, we're also going to record a lot of podcasts. If we repeat some stories, I don't give a fuck.
Ah,
it's
gotcha.
it's going
Okay.
to happen.
It's
Like,
bound to happen. I'm trying to regulate
Yeah, I'm
it,
not
but-
that interesting, so...
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
Scott, you shut up.
Okay,
You're
so you shit
fabulous.
your pants at Disney World.
Okay, so...
No, shut up. Don't just die.
I'm gonna
on
give
it.
this.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
just dive
delve
into the
shit.
poo.
Let's go to the climax that came out of my asshole. No, god damn it. So yeah, it's like I don't even know. This is probably like my first memory. I shit myself with a conscious memory. No, I think it's like about as far as I can go back. Man.
conscious memory.
I was like in kindergarten or something, and like I'm in like the Great Movie Ride,
Okay.
Oh god,
which is
that,
a piece of shit.
no, that movie is great.
I don't even
It's
know. I don't
22
remember.
minutes long, though.
It's
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That's why you pooped your pants. Because you're
No,
a
it wasn't even on the ride. It was like the fucking line
Oh,
getting up to
God.
the ride. The line was like fucking like half an hour long, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, gotta take a shit."
You did tell this story. Go on.
I did tell the story.
Go on.
You're right.
It's
Anyway,
funny.
so like I'm sitting there, he's like, "Yeah, son, we'll just ride this fucking long ass like hour long ride, and you'll be fine." I'm like, "No, I won't be." Next thing I can remember from like now going back, 15 some odd years, I remember the shit going down my fucking like posterior
Oh
leg.
god.
And it goes down, and then that got their attention, surprisingly enough. Yeah, so I shit my pants at Disney
Into
World.
your sock.
Into the sock. It
Did you have
was
to buy new socks?
no,
or
my
something?
mom had to buy an entire lower wardrobe. Everything. Underwear,
You make a killing on stuff like that.
Oh, exactly. They have a market for kids who shit themselves at Disney World. Surprisingly
I
enough.
am betting they plan on that.
Oh, it's definitely like
It cost them like 10 cents to make a whole outfit, and then
Some
they mark it
sweatshop.
up to like $56.
Just for the
It's like
socks.
crazy plot.
all right, that one's mine.
So,
Matt, you started this. You probably need
Do
to.
you want me to do mine?
You do yours.
Yeah,
So-
let's go ahead and hear this one.
Mine was
Start this
we were
bastard.
in high school. I was a senior in high school, and I was sitting in commons, and like I had to take a dump, and I hate taking dumps like at school.
You have
Even
a
now in
phobia?
college, I hate taking dumps.
You got
here,
this issue?
right? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go in there, and of course, whenever you go to high school, like kids always want to mess with the toilets and just like pee all over them. Or
Yeah,
just
I
throw,
did
all-
that a lot, actually.
God damn it.
throw the toilet paper in it and then like clog it up, right? So I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh, the best one is obviously the handicap stall because nobody goes in there. So I go in there and like, I'm doing my thing. I'm like, wow, this is nice, big, it's spread out. Nobody screws with this one. We had like 2 or 3 kids in our entire school that would have actually needed the bathroom, and I can hear his because he had a
Oh my god!
he had a walker, and you could hear it. And I'm sitting in the toilet going, no God, no God, no God. So I hear him stop, and I'm like, oh, maybe he's getting a drink of water. No, he's just readjusting so he can come into the bathroom. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. And like, I hear him get all the way up to where he can see me, and he knows that I'm not one of the kids that has to that like needs to use this. And he goes, oh, man. Then he starts this long trek to do it. So I'm thinking, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you know what? He saw my shoes. So I went home, I'm like, Mom, I have to get new shoes
Oh my
I went out and got new shoes, so he couldn't identify me. Like, so he's like walking down the hallway, like, I'm gonna find your freaking shoes.
photographic memory.
Oh my god, this is a vendetta against you and your fucking shoes.
I got new shoes that night, and like I wore them, and then like I was like, we'll never find out. And I held on that story forever, and like now, like when I think
that is
about
such
it,
a good fucking
I'm
story.
like,
What grade? How old were you? Like what grade?
I was a senior in high school.
Oh my god!
You were an adult.
You were a straight up
I
man.
was 18 years old.
You had hair in your nugs.
And I'm like, Mom, we gotta go out right now.
Dude, my fear about like public restrooms is that they're gonna know that like I'm just doing loud Duke. You know what I mean?
Just
So
let it go.
no, seriously, what I do is I just put headphones in, just like the loudest I fucking can. I can't hear it.
Canceling. I got some bones
Fucking
open.
blast it. Yeah. Some
If I
beats
can't
in
hear
there.
it, neither can they.
Exactly. So that's what I do. But yeah, no, that's what I don't do in the handicap
I
stalls.
honestly
man.
cannot
I try to
think
avoid
of a
it.
story like that, but going someone off of like you said, it must have been a luxury to have bathrooms in your high school that had doors on them because you said that
none
people
of ours did.
No, okay, you said that like people
No
mess with
doors.
yours all the
Mark
time.
Cameron,
Oh,
I can't find them
no,
doors.
okay. This is what they did to ours. It's like, I guess, I was told this when I was a freshman going to high school, that people would just steal the doors
I know.
off the stalls
I know who
and
did
just
it.
take them and steal them. So the school kept replacing them, and then eventually they were like, we are pouring money into stall doors. We're not going to do it anymore.
Oh my god.
So it was like the only one is in the new edition that actually, in at least the men's, I don't know about the girls, but in the men's, that's the only one that actually has doors on every single one. Otherwise, it's like they've all been taken off and stolen.
So you're just like taking a shit in the middle of like a full,
Yeah.
like an open room.
I'm more interested in why people want the fucking stall doors.
Dude, it's Mount Carmel, man. Like,
Like,
don't
they
question
make
it.
meth out of it? Like, what the fuck?
they probably use it for sledding or something.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't even
sledding.
know.
in those new edition bathrooms, when we were in high school, I had a computer class which was right next to the new edition bathroom.
For the
And
computers.
I was a senior. I didn't give a fuck. I looked at the teacher the first day and I was like, I'm gonna fail this class. I'm not gonna do any of the work. Like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. I'm not gonna cause any trouble. I'm just not gonna do anything. And she was like, oh, okay. So like
Yeah.
we started. So I started drawing this really shitty MS Paint like
our logo
drawing. Yeah.
Oh,
I just started drawing this really shitty MS Paint
Gotta
drawing
give me one, sir.
of my buddy Kyle. Okay? And then I proceeded to print
Don't
out
pour it.
over 50 color copies of this. And I went and just okay, Carson, you're here. When I drew this shitty MS Paint drawings of Kyle, printed out like 50 copies and started just handing them out. And I taped them all over the bathroom wall and stuff, and I was just like leaving trails all over the place. And I called Kyle from class, and I'm like, Kyle, you got to head down to the new edition bathroom quick. And he's like, oh god, man. He thought I was like getting in a fight or something. He like runs down to the bathroom, walks into the bathroom, and just sees like this really shitty fucking like drawing of himself all pasted all over the bathroom.
No, at our school, we were given these like credit things. Like every time you printed a picture or like a page, it was like 2 credits, and you had like 200. So we had 2 kids, and they would save all their credits until the very end of the year. They'd go on Microsoft Word, color the entire thing purple because purple's the most expensive color to print,
God.
and print 100 copies of it and use up all of their genius. They would go there, and then like I remember like the librarian's like, "What are you doing?" And then they're like, "We need this paper for our project," which is totally
It's all just magenta ink. Make it the most pure form of
And it
magenta.
no. The thing is, it wasn't like the quick, like, oh, it took forever to do this.
Yeah.
So the copiers would be like locked up for like 2 or 3 hours of printing all this stuff.
That's amazing.
They would go there, print them all out, log out, and the printer still has the memory of I need to print like 100 pages of purple. So kids are like, I can't print my stuff for class, and they're like, that's weird, guys. All this purple's coming out, and they would just sit there and just stick around for hours. Doing that.
That kind of reminded me. Do you remember Miss Bush? The computer teacher.
Do you remember what Tyler? All right, we had a friend Tyler, and he had finished up his project, and Miss Bush was the leader of like the computer lab, and they can see on all of our screens like what we're looking at. So Tyler one day goes, "Oh, this will be fun." So he goes onto Google and types in, "Do you like looking at my computer screen?" Hits enter, and he sits there and he waits. Miss Bush comes out, talks to the teacher. The teacher comes over and goes, Tyler, what are you doing? He goes like, "Oh, I'm just searching stuff on Google." So like he deleted like what he put and was like, looking up something on like Wikipedia, and she's like, okay. And he goes like, "Did you think telling the teacher on me was going to work?" Enter. So it shows up on her screen. He does this for the entire class. And Miss Bush is like, "Stop." Computers. And Tyler's like, "Yeah, guys, it's really immature." But she knows it's him. So he's just sitting there going like this. Then we had another kid, and he put his password in, and he put a bunch of spaces. So when he'd be like, "Oh, I don't remember what my password is. Can you look it up for me?" They'd look it up, and it wouldn't be anything. And they'd be like, they'd be like, "Oh my god, you don't like have a password." He's like, "Is that bad? Can I get in?" So they'd be like, "No, we reset it." So then he'd sit there and pretend to like type something in, but just be hitting the space bar a bunch of times, and be like, "All right, did that one show up?" Hit enter. They show up again, nothing's there. They're like, I don't know what's happening. And then they'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to get all my classwork done. I'm gonna fail school." I'm like, No, don't worry. They sit down there and they just hit spacebar and be like, "Miss Bush, it's not working." And like, we were trolls.
I liked when you got caught, it was called "You Got Bushwhacked." Here's the best part. I went on Urban Dictionary. It's a fucking thing. It's like, "You've been caught by Miss Bush in the Ridge High School."
That's amazing.
We had a wrestling. All right, we had a huge wrestling ordeal at our school. Like there was a huge hazing incident, and all these kids ended up getting sued.
Oh
yeah.
God!
Oh yeah.
So we did. All right, so we got a new wrestling coach, and this wrestling coach had like legit, like he was a national champion. He had like he was like this really good wrestler that was teaching at our school.
Mm-hmm.
And since you can go on Wikipedia and just type anything you want, the very last line of his personal it's like
Oh, that fucking guy.
So somebody goes on there and goes, "Now he's teaching at Prairie Ridge High School." He goes raping kids left and right.
Well, listen, that was the same guy me and Mike watched in the comments, and he totally had a boner, and he was like standing with his ass out trying to not show it. Like,
Damn.
he was totally there.
No,
talking to these hot chicks.
So
like,
we showed this to our buddy Sean, who's on the wrestling team. He thinks it's hysterical, not thinking like if he shows this to his wrestling coach, there's going to be repercussions. So what does he do? Like 2 minutes into wrestling practice, "Coach, you should go on your Wikipedia page or something hysterical." So the coach goes on there, he's like, "Read." He goes, "What?" He goes like, "Read this last line." And it's just like, he's like, "Did you put this on here, Sean?" He's like, "No, like one of my friends found it today, and me and Scott weren't in wrestling, so we just left." So he goes, "All we're doing today is running." So they did 2.5 hours of straight running.
What the
fuck? They made them put their joggers on, so they just sweat like crazy. Closed the doors to the running balcony and just sat there and watched them. And then Sean's just like, "I made you guys." Like, "Sean, we didn't tell you that." Sean, we thought it was funny when we found it. So then, like, the coach is like, "Take it off." So Sean, after running, had to sit there with the coach and go onto Wikipedia and delete it. So, like, he was taken away from the personal history. And, like, 4 days later,
See, the Kyle story that you told, Dane, I would have graduated by that point, but your senior year, what I remember, that was my freshman year of college, and whenever I was going to the community college back home, I'd be done by like noon. So Dane and Kyle would have lunch at like 12:30, so we'd meet up wherever, meet at my place, and all have lunch together. So there was one day in February that Dane and Kyle, they bring some food over. We're all just chilling at my house. And for February, it's like 78 degrees out and super, super nice for no reason whatsoever. Like just smack in the middle of February. So Dane and Kyle, it's about like 1:10 or so. It's about time for you guys to go back. So you're like, "Yeah, we'll catch up with you guys after school. See you later." And it was like me and Burb and I think Logan just hanging out in my room. They leave, and 5 minutes later, just walk back in, and they were like, "Yeah, so we realized how nice it was outside, and we're just not going to go back." And I guess, like, you guys made it to the intersection and just looked at each other, and we're just
we're like, "It's too nice a day." No. I think every high schooler is a piece of shit. I think that's that time of your life that, like, you're like...
You're developing, your hormones are still raging, you know what I mean?
Piece of shit.
Yeah,
like, You don't give a fuck about anybody else but
you think you're invincible, you're just a little bastard.
I would probably I wasn't a total
I would
douche canoe in
disagree.
high
I
school.
didn't do fucking anything.
Well, aren't you the exception to the rule?
No, like I remember like doing something like probably pissed my teachers off, but like yeah, there were definitely kids that you went to high school with.
Well, definitely. So
that
there's
are
always
now-
some kids.
that are
Yeah.
now the kids that are living in trailer
The
parks.
burnouts. Yeah.
Well,
And,
okay.
like, they were they were like, oh, he's so funny, he's gonna make it. I'm like, really? You
I was
think
a piece
that
of
dude's
shit
He's
in high
peeking it
school.
right now.
Okay, I don't want to offend you guys by this, but I was thinking about this the other day.
Oh
Do
God.
you guys remember, like, when you were a little kid, there was always, I think everybody has that one friend that you go to their house, and it's like, at the time, maybe you don't realize it, but it just smells completely like cigarettes. Every time you go, and you just remember that smell. It's
That was
ingrained
my
in your
great
mind.
aunt's house. Yeah.
And so, like, whenever you go to someone else's house now when you're older and it smells like cigarettes, you remember that.
yeah.
Well,
And
see,
then-
I'm
and
trying
then-
to think now. I should remember, but I don't fucking
And,
remember.
well, I was sitting here thinking, and like, or thinking about this the other day, and I was like, "There's probably people that don't have that," and I was like, "They're probably the people whose houses smelled like cigarettes."
We did even when it was weird how that kind of changed because even when we were little kids, if you smoked, you just smoked in the house. Like if your parents smoked or whatever, grandparents or whatever, they just lit up in the house.
Yeah,
And now, if you smoke, you don't smoke in your own house. Like that's just considered socially not a thing you do anymore.
Well, plus
Like,
it hurts. Well, now when people are looking at like if I gotta sell this house,
Yeah.
yeah, smoke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
or
you
it
got the
smells like
smoke.
cigarettes,
yeah,
then
fucking
nobody's gonna
smell.
want to buy it.
that's the thing. Is like even if you smoke, you always go
Go
outside
outside.
and do it, or at least have a garage or a deck or something that you go do it on. Like nobody smokes in their house anymore. Like I would doubt many little kids still have that. Like unless they go to like grandma's house.
well, that's the reason that
Unless
it popped
it's
in my
somebody
head
that
is
really just doesn't.
Yeah.
my buddy Kevin. Like I was hanging out at his place, and anytime that he smokes, it's just he lives in his basement and just lights up right there. You know, doesn't go outside or anything, and that's just how it's always been. And that's kind of what made me think about it because. Like you were
The
saying,
nostalgic
you don't
kind of
have-
smell.
Yeah,
Like, you just link it to that.
Like I'm not saying it in like a bad way.
No.
It's just sort of like, and I almost think back to a
you
time
got memory
because-
cells right next to your fucking smell
Yeah,
cells. I mean,
because I mean, my parents never smoked, and like none of my relatives really did. And if they did, they always went outside.
Mhm.
So I like relate it back to like that one or two friends' house that I remember going to, and just being like, "It smells weird."
Is that how you talked when you were a child?
No, it was probably way more annoying.
you know,
Not gonna lie.
you know one thing I miss from like older movies is how like they used to fucking smoke.
I definitely miss that.
Dude,
yeah.
the lighting with it just looks fucking cool. I don't know if you guys have noticed
Like,
that
like
ever.
the noir.
Like
Yeah,
noir,
that's
like film
really
noir.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like watch a
that-
fucking like old movie, just like the lighting, just like this. It just looks so cool.
Where
and just
it's
dreary.
like
and
you'll have like a lamp,
yeah,
and it's like
Well, they
there's
only use,
there's
like,
the
two
silhouette
lights,
of
yeah.
the person that's smoking,
You just
but then the
cover, like, a
smoke
gloss
is
of
coming
smoke.
through
Yeah,
the
it's
light.
so fucking cool.
It's such a cool shot.
It's definitely a cool effect.
And
Yeah.
those, they don't actually blow the smoke. They just kind of let it roll out of their mouths.
Yeah.
Where it
Yeah,
goes,
it's
like,
just
straight
badass.
up, and
Dude, it's
just-
definitely an
yeah.
effect for film, dude. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Have
I
you
miss the
guys-
shit out of that.
Have you guys played Bioshock Infinite?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you played any of the new DLC?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
How was the new one in Rapture? I heard that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Episode 1, real quick. Episode 1, pretty but the second one
Heard it's great.
where you play as Elizabeth is awesome.
I didn't know you played as Elizabeth,
Yeah,
but that
it's-
sounds awesome.
It's fantastic. When I first heard of it, I was like, not sure if that'd be any fun, but it is. It's
Yeah.
great.
Anyway, what were you saying
But
about Infinite? Yeah.
the reason that I bring it up is because it's like, have you beat it?
I beat
Yes.
it.
Okay.
Yes.
So the reason that it works is because of that ending. I don't want to spoil it. I'm not even sure if I could because it's really.
It takes
really
like
weird.
we'll
could
need a
not tell
fucking
you
dry
that.
erase board,
Yeah,
like a fucking
pretty much.
diagram, and like a Google
But,
Map app, and like this fucking it's fucking
it's like
complex.
it's supposed to be Elizabeth kind of meeting Booker again,
Uh huh.
and so whenever she first shows up, that's like the first thing he does. He lights his cigarette for her,
Yeah.
you know, using like the flame power and everything. And it has that shot, like she comes into
A
view
really cool,
to get her
dramatic
cigarette.
cigarette smoke
it
effect.
looks
Yeah.
really awesome. I mean, I don't condone smoking. I don't smoke, but that
It
looks
looks
cool.
fucking cool.
Yeah.
We're not gonna say that smoke people, but it looks fucking awesome.
Let's
That's
be
what I'm
honest.
saying.
Let's be
It's badass
Smoking
looking.
does make you look cool.
It does. I'm not gonna
Okay.
lie. It's
But it depends on the person.
Like,
Okay.
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
If
like,
Ryan
because I've
Gosling's
seen
gonna
one-
smoke a cigarette in a scorpion jacket, I'm gonna fucking
Yeah.
jerk off to it. But I mean,
I'm
But
putting
no,
it on
yeah,
my
but
list.
can you guys
when you
know?
have that jerk in the old like gremlin car that cuts you off and he's smoking a cigarette on the freeway, then you're like, that's not cool.
uttering racial slurs. Like,
Have you ever heard of Bus Driver? freaking out. All right, this is going back to high school. Our bus driver would go over.
It wasn't a gremlin.
It wasn't a gremlin.
It was a javelin, and those are actually nice.
He claimed that it was a gremlin. I remember you sitting back there like, no, it's not. And then our bus driver, like for like the last 2 years, was a jabroni. This dude,
he was alright.
He didn't know. You know, all
right. Well, to be fair, he had to put up with us, and we were a bunch of fucking assholes.
He put up with pieces of shit.
No, I will give absolute credit to. We had a lady driver our first 3 years of high school. She had to deal with absolutely the worst. Like, I thought we were kind of bad. The kids that were ahead of us. All right, we have a time. We were coming home. Like, it was like right before winter break, so we had a bunch of snow on the ground. These kids decide, hey, it's the last day of school. We're going to screw around a lot. So they go back there. They just start screaming, Mom! Mom, is that you? Mom! And then they're like, she's like, what is wrong with you? And they're like, Mom, is that you? Because they're pretending like they're blind or something. So she turns the bus off, walks to the back, and she's like, what is the matter? And they're like, Dad? Dad!
This is one of those moments where they used to beat the shit out of children. Back in there with a pad with holes in it. They used to whip the fucking shit out of it.
They start doing that. Then our buddy Tyler gets off the bus, makes a snowball, and throws it at the bus as it's driving away. It hits, and they go, oh my god, Al Qaeda! They freak out. They throw their backpacks up in the air. They're throwing them across the seats.
They're diving away.
We're flying away. They're diving under the seats, crawling like, oh my god, we're gonna blow up!
He was on the bus. I got off at that stop, and I could hear them through the windows going like, ah!
The worst little shits I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
such little bastards.
As we get off at each of our stops, they're going to write down our names so they know who it was. So they'll go, hey, everybody, do us a favor. Get off at the next stop. So what did we do? All like 40
Actually,
of us.
isn't that when we had that replacement driver that was a total cunt?
That's what
she was a cunt.
Our first one, like, we got up, we left, and then our dean came in and goes like, hey guys, I need names. And the guy's like, my name's Rob Zombie. Like, a bunch of fake names.
Rob Zombie.
That's how he said it too.
That's perfect.
Rob Zombie.
Rob.
We had one lady, and we were, our buddy Dan would always play guitar in the back of the bus. Wasn't bothering anybody, just playing guitar. So this lady's like, stop with the guitar.
She
you know what to do.
pulled over,
and
leaving the school, and this is a big deal because you hold up traffic for miles.
She threatened to call the cops on us for singing on the bus. So they're like,
oh, call them fucking
bluff. We started singing 99 bottles of beer.
How does we could? She pulled up, she's like, I'll call my boss, and my boss will call the cops. And then some kid in the back's like, do it, bitch! I hope they call the cops!
They ain't taking this bus!
So she starts driving. She's like, you guys need to read the rules. Some kid's like, oh, new rule. Nobody breathe. Everybody hold their breath. So we're all sitting there like holding our breath. She's like, you guys can breathe. He's like, just shaking her head. So like she gets really upset, and she's like, I'm gonna report all you guys. So then she's like, I'm gonna start taking names when you guys get off. So then that's when we all stand up at one stop, and like 40 of us get off. And she's like, no, only 4 kids are scheduled to get off at this stop. And then the one kid's like, oh, didn't you hear? We all moved in this neighborhood. Crazy thing. So we're piling off, and it's not like she could just stop the door on a bunch of kids leaving.
She's the worst little shits I've ever heard in my life. Like, seriously.
So no, to be fair, she had it coming. She was
she's a bitch. Yeah.
No, she really was.
She wanted absolute silence on the bus. And
yeah.
you like,
you don't even mind her if they like. I don't understand that. Like, oh, you'd be quiet on the fucking bus ride.
No,
like,
he was playing an acoustic guitar, and she pulled over and stopped up all the traffic.
And then the second that happened, all the kids in the back are like, well, it's on now.
Yeah.
99 bottles of beer on the wall. That part almost made me cry because I was like, dude, if the cops do show up, I'm like at the point where I'm like, I don't care. Like, what are they honestly gonna? Nothing's gonna happen.
A noise complaint on a bus? Like that?
That's worse than when the RAs call the cops around.
Yeah,
pretty much.
For everything.
It's like, what are you guys doing? Stop it.
Now, see, when my Halloween party got busted last year, when they asked for my name, I know we talked about my Halloween party getting busted. I don't think we ever mentioned this part. When they asked for my name, they're like, well, we're going to need your name. And I was like, oh, yeah. My name is Jack, J-A-K, Madik, M-A-D-I-K. K-D-E-E-Q. And I was drunk as shit trying to slur this out. And I'm like, and my brother's here. He's partying with us. They're like, okay, and what is your brother's name? And they've got like a little notepad. And I'm like, Suck, S-U-Q. I was like, my parents had a really weird thing for weird spellings. Madik. So she looks like, goes, Jack Madik. And then she pauses and goes, and Suck Madik, really? And I'm like, oh, you said it, bitch.
Oh my god.
Jack Madik and
Like
Suck
huge
Madik.
ass.
Huge
That's
ass.
my favorite prank call that they ever did on like The Simpsons. Is
What is it?
okay, Bart. There's one episode he calls. He like in the
They call
earlier
him Mo,
ones.
yeah.
He's called Mo all the time. There's one he calls. He's like, "Can I get a huge ass?" And is there a huge ass here? Huge ass. Oh, my name's Huge Ass. He comes up. Hello. Yeah, this is a crank call that completely backfired. Oh, sorry. Better next time. He just hangs up.
Mr. Huge
No, I love it
Ass.
like when he realized the joke's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you one day, you little bitch. Like seriously, it's like a death threat. Like it's so awesome.
Oh, Scott's about to move to the big guns, everybody.
The
Alright,
Cobra
King
40.
Cobra 40.
So if we want to segue a little
I already
bit,
have a little bit.
do you guys have any like comics that you read at all, like web, other
Graphic novels or
Yeah.
anything?
If
Anything.
you want, we can make an entire podcast where I talk about that for at least 4 hours.
I do.
I've been trying to read Judge Dredd.
I love Judge Dredd.
yeah, he's the shit.
I read Ava's Demon. It's a
The
webcomic.
one we saw at the,
yeah,
yeah.
I've really gotten into that since like we went and saw that panel. It's really
did a
good.
great job on that.
Yeah,
that
it's
panel
really
we saw.
good.
As far as like comics that I read, I like Frank Miller a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Just tell him to say no.
no, I'm trying to think. He does a lot of, like the Batman stuff he did.
Yeah.
So like Batman
Sin
Year
City.
One, he did like the new
The
Batman
new
movie is supposed to be
Oh,
based
Batman,
off
okay.
it. But of course, like the original one, I can't remember. It's like Batman. God, is it Returns?
Yeah, Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Returns.
the,
yeah.
the animated
The
movie.
movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Have
that's
you
what
guys
it's based
seen
off
those?
of. No, the comic's incredible.
So good.
Yeah,
They are
no,
good.
it's seriously fucking dark. And like, I know the movie's not gonna fucking do it any justice.
No,
I still think it's
Those
good. I've
animated-
never read it, but it's good.
the comic's
live
incredible.
action.
But like, no,
really good.
the Zack Snyder one coming out is gonna
Oh.
fucking be.
Oh.
No, that's gonna be a hunk of shit.
Yeah.
It's already. We already know it's gonna be.
Literally,
awful.
as soon as you said that, Goose
No.
and I looked at each other and we were like, never mind.
No,
Exactly. No, I heard those are cool. I'm totally
yeah,
down with those. I
awesome.
mean to watch it, but the comic's incredible. Like, it's so cool. Like, he's so dark. Like, he gets a rifle and it's like shoots fucking dudes in the face. Like, and I imagine, like, you know, like, it's the same narration styles like Sin City.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like really dark and like the dialogue's really cool and like kind of old school. So like I imagine Bruce Willis is like the voice, which is perfect, by the way, if you ever read those comics.
Yeah.
But no, it's a definitely really good. It's probably the best Batman comic I've ever read.
Going off of the Batman comics, have you guys ever read The Killing Joke?
Yes.
Yes,
It's
I've
so
heard of
good.
It's really
It's
good.
so
That was
good.
really influential for Dark Knight,
Yeah,
actually,
like-
because the Harvey Dent thing was really heavy, like really well played in there. Yeah.
It's basically how the Joker. It's kind of like his origin story, how he became the Joker, what like led to it.
No, I'm thinking of the Long Halloween. Sorry.
Yeah. When you said that, I was like,
No. Alan Moore did that. The guy made Watchmen.
Yeah. And my buddy Gary, I don't know if he still does, but he used to collect all kinds of comics, and he brought it up several times to me. And
No, it's incredible.
Yeah,
it's
he-
really short, but it's
yeah.
a great read.
he was just like, you just need this, and he just gave it to me to read one evening, and I did, and it's incredible.
It's amazing.
And the
Yes.
thing is like for me, I don't keep up on superhero comics or like Batman or anything like that. But it's like if you know just enough, it's like you know who Superman, you know who Batman is, and you know
Oh,
who
you really are getting the next movie, aren't
Yeah.
you? Look at you. You're
Yeah.
pumped for it.
what Batman and Superman?
What's it even called?
Yeah,
Batman
Batman,
vs.
Superman.
I'm pretty
Is it,
sure
I
is it
know.
fucking seriously called that?
I'm
God
not.
fucking damn it.
I want to get away from superhero movies because we spent like 40 minutes.
Okay,
on
the
Yeah,
other-
that's not-
but
The other comic that I'm just really huge on is the Hawkeye comic.
Really?
It's
Is it?
just Hawkeye. Like it
Sounds
and-
pretty cool.
Oh my god, I love it. It has to be my favorite comic. And it's just that like the way it's animated, it almost looks like a 1970s like
Kind of old school, like,
cop show
grindhouse
kind
kind
of thing. It
of
kind of
deal.
looks like
yeah.
something like Starsky and Hutch is the way it's kind of
That's
animated.
awesome.
Like kind of
Old
looks
school.
like
I did dig that, yeah.
and it's not Hawkeye. Like he goes on missions and stuff, and you see him do actiony stuff, but it's really set more like in what he does during his downtime between like the Avengers missions and stuff. And it's really kind of more like
Shops for eye patches.
Yeah, like what Hawkeye does like in his off time. And there's some really cool scenes in and it's really cool because he's kind of like a secondary character in the Avengers, and you really get to kind of like follow his life and stuff. And in the first issue, he is up on this like balcony or like up on the roof of his apartment building, and like his neighborhood is having like a cookout thing like on the roof, and he's sitting there trying to impress this chick by he's taking like quarters and he's trying to flick them with his thumb and break a beer bottle like 20 feet away, and he cannot do it. Like he just cannot hit this thing, and this chick just takes it and on the first try hits it and busts it, and so he's all pissed off because he's like, well, shit, I'm supposed to be like the best marksman ever, and I cannot hit this thing. Well, so then, like, anyway, without getting into too many spoilers, there's a dog that he wants to rescue, and the dog, like, starts to get out in the road, and this lady's talking on the cell phone, and she's not even paying attention. And so, like, without even thinking, he just, like, pulls, like, a quarter out of his pocket and flicks it and busts her whole, like, driver's side window, just shatters it, and she's all covered in glass and stuff, and he just picks up the dog and leaves. Like, doesn't see if the lady's okay or anything, just picks up the dog and goes home.
Got like cut her eye out.
It's a really, really cool comic.
Yeah.
See,
I'll
but
check it out, man.
you guys focus more like the American, like you guys are more like the American, like the original, like you started with like Superman, like all those.
Yeah.
Like I'm more into the Japanese, like the manga.
and
Japs.
stuff,
So
I used to.
I read
Those
like
fucking
a ton
Japs.
of that stuff. I don't like. I also like. Because I know Scott, you have the like compendiums of like the original Batmans, and I've
Yeah.
read those, and they're super cool. But I don't know. I read a lot of like the Japanese stuff, like Berserk, which is probably the darkest thing.
Man, you
you'll
told me
ever
about
read.
that. It's pretty
That will
awesome.
easily be the darkest thing you will
I
ever
actually
read.
want to read that, but I'm not a huge fan of Japanese
No,
anime unless if it's done
it's
right.
not-
Yeah, I
like,
agree.
like,
I gotta dip my
Cowboy
toes
Bebop.
into it. Yeah,
Like,
that style.
yeah,
It's
I
not
like
too
that,
fucking
but-
crazy,
yeah.
and it makes sense. It's
A
logical.
lot of the things, like when you think of like an animation, you always get like the worst examples of what it is, which is like fan service and like
Hentai
just the
and stuff
stupidest
like that.
shit, right?
Oh God.
So, but like a lot of like Berserk is
Do it
super
every
dark. It's
time,
super
dude.
like in depth. Like they go like the guy spends I think to draw a single page of his takes him like 19 or 20 hours
Wow.
because he puts so much detail into it, and they're a lot darker than like American comics, or at least that one is. And I'm sure
Yeah.
there's American comics that are just as dark, but it deals more
Well,
with like it's
there definitely are.
a medieval comic, and like people get ripped to pieces, and
Yeah.
it like it's not
That's
like
cool.
it's not the
check that
flowery
out.
like yay friendship wins the day. It's
Yeah.
like hey, this is what'll actually happen.
The two that I have that I've been.
You never finished talking about the Killing Joke, man.
Oh, I mean, do you want me to?
Yeah, I do. I fucking love that comic.
He
Did
talked
he
about how
finish?
it was the origin story.
Well, I mean,
of
the last
Joker.
thing that I had to say was just like, if you know who the Batman is and you know who Joker is, then you can just pick it up and you'll be totally fine reading it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah,
you won't get
definitely.
lost. Like
In
other
the
stuff,
80s,
but-
Batman really, they made those comics a fuck ton darker.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. You see it in like ones like that.
Well, no,
like
the
Arkham
original-
Asylum 2.
The original
I don't know if you guys
one,
read that one, it's awesome.
Batman kills people. The original one, he doesn't save
Yeah.
people. Like people
Oh,
fall into
yeah.
acid.
Yeah.
He's like, oh well, solve the crimes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's just a
Between
witty
like that and
remark.
shit like that and this, like, I don't know. They got in the 80s, they really fucking got great. I don't know. It's just hard to explain, but
Yeah.
just check them out. They're great.
The two that I'm reading right now, one of them, like you were saying, Japanese stuff.
Mhm.
I'm usually like real selective on that, but I got into One Piece last fall, and I don't know if any of you guys have
Yeah,
read
no,
that.
I know one. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
talk. It's really long. It's about pirates, and it's
Yeah.
an interesting take where in that world.
Japanese pirates.
It's,
No, they're not. No, they're not bound to a race. It's like an entire world that's built like piracy.
Kind of different universe kind of thing.
Exactly. Like a lot of Japanese comics, everybody's like, "Oh, it's about Japan." They're really not. They really.
They're their own
they take
thing.
their own. Yeah.
Yeah.
They take their own, no, that one like there's special fruits, and if you eat them, you get different powers. and
Whoa!
It's like a whole thing.
It's
This is where
really-
me and Scott go, bye. Just, we
Well,
just go walk away.
It's really cool. Like you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You just gotta get a shot.
it's really goofy, but I really like it. There's some parts to it that's really funny. There's other parts where you're like, holy crap, that just happened. It's a really good read. I like it.
What's it called?
It's called
One
One Piece.
Piece.
It's not
One
done.
Piece.
I prefer the show because I just like to
I don't,
watch
because
stuff.
I just hate filler.
Well,
Just pisses
I mean,
me off.
when I watch it though, I only watch
Yeah,
like
the
English
canon.
version, and
Oh,
then
you?
yeah.
I'm so sorry. That 4 Kids dub is
no. The people that did
The
Dragon Ball
Southern-
Z Funimation.
Yeah, no.
They had their-
they had to pick it up.
Yeah,
Because the 4 Kids dub was literally. If you want to hear the worst example of like how bad a dub can be, watch like the first like 50 episodes of One Piece. They picked the absolute worst voices for those.
It's kind of like the ocean dub of Dragon Ball.
Oh my god,
Is it
yeah.
on YouTube?
Yeah.
It's
So
god
bad.
awful.
But
Oh
no,
my God.
my point is like The Funimation one I actually like. I know there's a lot of people that don't, but I think it's great.
Yeah, it's probably better than
One Piece.
the original one.
It's weird, but I like it. The Funimation dub isn't caught up by any means, so I started reading the manga, and now it's like I'm all caught up. I think that's great. The other one though, because I mentioned webcomics earlier. My friend Rachel, she does this comic. Yeah, I've talked to you about it before. It's called Dollhouse, and see, we've been talking about like all
Joss
this.
Whedon show?
What? No.
No. Nobody knows what that is. No one's watched that to me. Nobody knows.
No.
Watch the camera.
Anyway,
Not you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Get the fuck out of here.
Anyway, point being, we've been talking about like all superhero stuff and things that are all like fantasy. This one's actually one that's definitely grounded in reality. It's basically about a bunch of just different people. They're all kind of like punks and outcasts and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's about this chick who, she meets a guy that's in this band, and it's sort of just all about people in general, and it's all set in St. Louis. So like all the locations that are in it
are real places.
They're real places. Like the bars that they go to in different locations are actually places you can visit. It's really well drawn, and I really love
checked
all
out
of the
I
characters.
haven't read it, but I've checked out like the animation side. It's really cool.
It's awesome, and I mean it's definitely like there's a couple dark moments in it, or at least one really big one, but there's definitely some stuff that's like, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably mature enough, whatever. What I'm saying is that there's moments that's like 18 and older, obviously, but it's really, really good. I really like it.
Oh, yeah, with mine, Berserk is, if you can't stand blood or gore, Berserk is definitely 18 over. That's not even one to play around.
Definitely go and check.
One Piece is one that you could read probably at
No, you'd be fine.
13, you'd be fine.
No, you'd be fine.
Definitely go and check out Dollhouse. Is it dollhouse.com?
Yeah, but or it's like Dollhouse.
Yeah, we'll put it in the
dump. Yeah, but it's fantastic. It's still going. It updates every Tuesday and Thursday. So
yeah, well, I mean, plus it's a local artist. I mean, it's obviously it's people we know. So
it's great.
Yeah,
that's the two that I've really been keeping up on.
All right. Any closing statements before we?
This has been a really long podcast.
It'll probably be cut down. One thing.
Okay.
Random buzz thought. This occurs. This kind of Adam will get this. A Hotline Miami comic.
Oh. Oh man.
But what would you do with that?
Yeah.
You could do a lot.
You just make it like Drive, because that's basically what that fucking game is.
Yeah.
I was just gonna think about how that sequel needs to come out today.
I've never played Hotline Miami, but like, is there a storyline behind like each character?
It's more like you trying to just kill all these dudes and just like all these drug dealers in like a building, but you gotta be tactful about it and shit.
Well, he keeps getting these random calls from people, and it's like, because he has nothing going on with his life, he's like brainwashed into it. So he just like gets these calls, and then he goes to these places and kills these criminals.
So you could develop it more than that and make it a comic.
But I mean, if you think even on the second one, it's even more because there's these people that are taking after what he did in the first game, doing what he did.
I mean, even if you make it like Drive doesn't have that much of a plot. It's all style, and that's what the fucking game's about. It's just violent, bloody, neon light style, and I love it. That's what I know, but I mean, you can capture the comic. You know what I mean?
Do more with it.
Like that's what I'm thinking. Like when I think of a comic, I'm thinking something that has like 200 plus chapters. That's how I think of it, because like I know. Like, back in the day, like, a comic, like, you resolve an entire storyline in, like, I don't know, like, 3, like, little issues, and they were, like, 15, 20 pages
I don't know, man.
Here's my thing, though, when it comes to making, and this could be the closing statement, when it comes to making a comic about a video game, the Sonic the Hedgehog comic is still going, and it started in 1994.
Is it? I never knew that existed.
I think it was, like, 94. It's still
going
good? To this day.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's what I was gonna figure. Like, how do you
actually
rings and
probably now it's probably gotten better, but I know like when I read it as a kid, I was just like, oh my gosh, Sonic. But the last time I saw it, I think I really was reading it. It was
They've
pretty
increased
bad. I think it's.
Oh, okay.
It's probably gotten better. Maybe I don't know.
Has it become like a smut novel yet?
It's banging tails in the asshole. Like,
if you think about it, though, because it's almost like what they had to do was like add in a bunch of their own characters, pretty much. It's almost like an official fan comic, really. Wow. It's almost like an official fan thing because they have all these characters that they made up.
That's
And they're not in the games or anything.
That's cringy,
So,
man.
That is pretty weird.
but yeah, it's still going.
This
Yeah.
reminds me
So
of the video.
Hotline Miami could happen.
No, this reminds me. Remember that one Sonic video I sent you that was like 7 seconds long?
Oh man.
No.
Okay, we're gonna put in the dump, and you guys could fucking look at it because we
Okay.
probably need to wrap this up because I think it's been like. an hour.
we don't really have a set time limit anymore.
Yeah,
Also for 7-second videos though, just to throw this out there. Even if you've seen it, you need to watch it again. Jack and the Party Blower is my new favorite YouTube video.
it's probably
We'll
it's
definitely
up
put
there.
that linked up too. Yeah. Well, I know we are working on a couple new things to throw out, which I don't think we should probably talk about yet because we're still kind of working on it and like getting the ideas formed. And I'd like to have it like done before we actually start talking about it.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Ooh,
Stuff we're working on for
Top
other
secret.
Yeah.
what kind of secrets?
Stuff we're
Top man.
stuff that we're working on for like other programming other than just the podcast. Like we're working on expanding.
I'll look forward to making fun of it.
Only me and Dane, because Adam got kicked out and Scott got kicked out with him.
But
Why did I get
Scott is you're with me, man.
No, because
Scott,
Adam like leaned over and like grabbed your shoulder, and Dane's like, "That's it. You guys are both."
Jesus Christ.
Scott didn't do anything.
No,
just
Scott,
like, you were closer to Adam. He's like, "You're done."
In all honesty, it probably did on this.
no, but yeah, we probably should wrap up. I wanted to thank everybody because our views spiked real high. Like
over
last week.
this last week, we got a
And-
ton of views. We want to say thank you to everybody who checked us out.
Yeah,
Even if you didn't
and
listen to the whole thing, just
yeah,
thank you again.
awesome just for like watching it.
All of our
And-
mothers that play it when they don't even pay attention to it.
Especially thank you to Rooster Teeth Promotions for giving us the write up. That was
Beautiful
really
bitches.
really cool. Check out Eat Drink Dump, but you're already here.
And also on Twitter, because I don't think we said that in the
Yeah,
last one.
yeah, follow us-
Hit us up on Twitter at EatDrinkDump.
Multiple social media. Here, folks.
Subscribe to us. Check out the Season Effect on YouTube.
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick. I don't know if these people are also coming from Rooster Teeth, but thank you to the people who checked out the Season Effect because I've also gotten some traffic off of this too. So thank you for those who check that out.
Check out Dollhouse, the comic, man.
And everything else we talked about.
We'll be back next
Marvel anything.
Yeah, we'll be back next Tuesday with another episode of Eat Drink Dump. Have a great week, guys.
Wu-Tang!
Thanks again.
Bye.